Your final injury report for week 4 covering Michael Mayer, Jaden Daniels, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, and Noah Brown, Tyrone Tracy, Mike Evans, Alec Pierce, Baker Mayfield, Devonta Adams, Justin Fields, Chuba Hubbard, Ted McMillan, DeAndre Swift, Ricky Pearsall, Isaiah Likely, Bill Krosky-Merritt, Chris Godwin, Juwan Jennings, Jalen Warren, covering their status. Are they going to play in the impact for their team? This is No BS Fantasy Football. Hit that like and subscribe to get this kind of video every single week. We're going to be going rapid fire here with quick updates for the out players. And the first is Michael Mayer. He's out for this game. Obviously, you aren't starting him, but this is good news for Brock Bowers, who hasn't been great so far this season in terms of where you drafted him. Michael Mayer being out could get him a few extra targets and make him the star that we drafted him to be. We'll cover all the commanders at once. Not going to waste your time here. Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and Noah Brown are out for this game. I still think you can start Marcus Mariota with his rushing ability. This makes Deebo Samuel and Zach Ertz more exciting starts than they were last week. CeeDee Lamb is out as well. George Pickens, I'm still a little bit nervous about facing this Packers team because Dak Prescott will still need to get the ball out of his hand quickly, and George Pickens is going to need time to develop his routes. So for me, this is just really exciting for Jake Ferguson, who had 14 targets last week. Mike Evans is out as well. Now, this is one of the more injured teams that we're going to cover this week because not only is Mike Evans in this video, Chris Godwin is in this video, and Baker Mayfield is in this video as well. But at the very least, Mike Evans is out for this game. That's the one that is confirmed, and that makes Emeka Egbuka an amazing start. He's been great so far. I've been worried about his touchdown production. With Mike Evans out, that touchdown upside goes up even more. So you're definitely locking him into your lineups this week. And soon we're going to be talking about Godwin and Baker Mayfield. You probably knew this one already, but Tyrone Tracy is out. This is huge news for Cam Scatterbo. Jackson Dart will probably run a little bit. This is his first start, so Russell Wilson is sitting the bench. But Cam Scatterbo will get the receiving work. The rushing work is still a solid start, even in a very tough matchup. We're supported by the Walter Picks app here because Alec Pierce missing the game is actually pretty big. He's been getting 5 targets per game the last few games, and who has good snap share in games where the games are close. Week 3 was not even close for the Colts, and him being out is actually big news for Michael Pittman Jr., locking him in as a surefire start. And those people that didn't drop Josh Downs, maybe this week he gets a little more work with Alex Pierce being on the bench. Next, we're moving on to the wrong side of questionable. These are the players where when you look at their status, it's not, they're questionable, but they're going to play. This is they're questionable, and they're actually questionable. And we're going to start with Ted McMillan. And this is huge for the Panthers because the next player we're going to talk about is also Chuba Hubbard, who's also in this segment. So this could be an absolutely great day for the Panthers, getting both their guys in the game, or this could be a horrible day for the Panthers without Ted McMillan and Chuba Hubbard. Let's first start with Ted McMillan. I'm already nervous about him in this game because the Patriots are getting Christian Gonzalez back, their best corner, and he's probably going to be on Ted McMillan. That's a very tough assignment, and that's probably the toughest he's had all season because Atlanta was missing a few of their defensive backs as well. We look at his game log here in the Walter Picks app, and we see his snap percentage has been elite. His route rate has been elite. His targets have been elite. My fantasy football advice here is I would sit him if you can. And if you don't have Ted McMillan on your team, after this week is a great buy low opportunity because not only is he facing a really tough matchup, next week he'll probably be healthier than he is now, which means he's a great buy low after this week if he does have a bad week. Chuba Hubbard also scary for this game. Now, I think he's more on the probably side, but not the kind of questionable that's like, lock him in. We definitely have to monitor this game because he's another player that's had a huge impact so far this season. We look at the game log. The receptions have been pretty solid. The touchdowns, he's been a good touchdown guy. The snaps, the routes overall have been really good. And obviously this week and next week are some of the 2 best matchups possible for Chuba Hubbard. Now, if he does not play, I think Rico Dowdle, he's the backup here. I think he actually could be a good start, especially if Ted McMillan misses. Someone's got to take over this work. Keep an eye on the waiver wire there. If your opponent has Chuba Hubbard, you may just want to go add Rico Dowdle right now. Grab Chuba Hubbard's backup to block them from getting them because that's at least going to give you an advantage for your fantasy football matchup. And if you have Hubbard, you may want to add Dowdle now or at least be closely monitoring the situation. This section of the video is players coming back from injury. First, we're starting with Chris Godwin after we already talked about Mike Evans, who again is out for this game. Now, Chris Godwin, I would leave him on the bench even if he plays. He's coming off a huge injury. We want to see how he looks at game speed. And obviously, Emeka Egbuka, a great start in this game. If you have Chris Godwin, that's awesome, but I would leave him on your bench this week. Juwan Jennings is also coming back from injury. He played week 2. He didn't play week 3, but right now it looks like he will play week 4. And Pearsall is on this list. We did know that Brock Purdy's going to play. So if Juwan Jennings plays, I would track this closely. I think it's probable at the moment based on how he's been practicing. He practiced in a similar fashion that he did to week 2 when he did play in that game. I do think he's going to play. If he does play, you could actually lock him into your lineups. With Pearsall on this list as well as questionable, obviously George Kittle is still out. There's not a lot of targets available on this team. So Juwan Jennings plays, I'm locking him into lineups. Isaiah Likely, also coming back from a big injury, is likely to play this week. It's something to watch out for with Mark Andrews managers. I still think you could play Mark Andrews this week because Isaiah Likely, he hasn't been practicing in full. His fitness is probably not exactly where it needs to be. It's hard to do that when you're injured. And first game back against the Chiefs, huge game here. I do think Likely will play. He'll probably be getting targets when he's out there, but I do think you can still play Mark Andrews this week. I would not play Likely. Now, of course, I hope he has that huge game so we can just confidently start him in the lineups next week. But for this week, I'm not confident enough in his high snap share that he's going to be a startable. We're continuing the trend towards better news because this section of the video is for players likely to play, and Jaylen Warren is one of them. Now, this is a tough one, especially if you're on the West Coast, because Jaylen Warren is playing at that early game in Ireland. But right now, he is questionable to play, but also likely to play. If you have Jaylen Warren, keep an eye on this game. Make sure you tune in early. If Warren misses this game, Gainwell is a lock for your starting lineup. DeAndre Swift is also not guaranteed to play, but he is practicing in a similar fashion he did to last week when he did play. So while DeAndre Swift is questionable, it is expected he's going to play, and I am going to put him in lineups. Ricky Pearsall is the final player in this section of the video of questionable, but probably going to play. If he does, I'm going to lock him into the lineups here. We look at his game log. He's had 2 really strong games. Now, week 2, Juwan Jennings did play, and he was a little bit worse. But overall, his air yards have been very impressive. His snap share, his route percentage has been very impressive. So far, his air yards, he's 3rd in the entire league. That's the kind of player you want to put in your starting lineups. On to our final section of the video. This is the good news where these players are questionable, but they're going to play. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe again to get this video every week. And we're starting with Bill Krosky Merritt. Now, just because he's going to play doesn't mean you should put him in your lineup. Chris Rodriguez Jr. led this backfield early on. Marcus Mariota stole some touchdowns, and Bill Krosky Merritt really came through at the end of the game when it was out of hand, and that's when he scored his touchdown. The fact that he's even entering this game with a questionable tag means he should stay on your bench, because if they do get way ahead, why risk his health? Why put a player who's questionable into the game? That's when he needs to be in the game. When it's out of hand, you'd put a player like him in, so I'm going to leave him on the bench. Justin Fields is back just in time to face Miami, and I want to show you guys something in the game log. I'm actually going to go to the matchup tab for Justin Fields, and he's facing the Dolphins, who have let up 29 points to Daniel Jones, 26 points to Drake May, and 23 points to Josh Allen. These are all rushing capable quarterbacks. The minimum points has been 22 points so far. So I think if you have Justin Fields, since he is playing, you got to lock him into your lineup. Baker Mayfield is also questionable, but it also looks like he's going to play. I'm not super excited about him this week, just with all the injuries and the tough matchup. Now, they are going to need to pass, but with Mike Evans out and Chris Godwin returning from injury, Emeka Egbuka could be the main target, and the Eagles' defense is pretty tough. Baker Mayfield is on the lower end of startable this week. If you do have other options like Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, these are guys I would be starting over Baker Mayfield. And our final player of the video, again, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe for more no BS content. It's Devonta Adams. Now, for me, he's questionable. He is likely to play, but I'd prefer to leave him on the bench. Now, he was on my must-draft list. He's going to be good for the season, but the Colts this whole year, I'll go to the matchup tab, they've taken away the downfield receiver every game. Now, that has been the wide receiver one as well, but I don't think you can take away Puka Nacua. Tyreek Hill, under 10 points. Cortland Sutton, 2 points. And Cortland Sutton's been great week 1 and 3. And week 3, Calvin Ridley, they held him to under 4 points. With him being questionable, I'd leave him on the bench.